Men can't resist women who detach. Detachment is confidence. You don't chase, you attract. When you detach, you stop clinging, and that makes you magnetic. Confidence isn't about needing someone. It's about knowing you're enough. Neediness repels. Listen, no one, not even the best guy, wants to feel like they're your emotional lifeline. The second you stop begging for attention, people start fighting for yours. Mystery is intoxicating. When you detach, you create space. And guess what? Men love space, not to run away, but to lean in. They wonder what you're up to. They crave your energy. Less access equals more attraction. You control the vibe. Think about it. When you're anxious, you radiate stress and desperation. But when you detach, you radiate peace and power. And that energy, that's what men can't resist. You're not their therapist. Stop trying to fix, heal, or be their personal life coach. That's not sexy. A detached woman supports but doesn't solve. She lets a man step up or step out. Scarcity makes you valuable. If you're always available, always saying yes, where's the thrill? When you detach, you become the rare gem he knows he can't replace. A high-value woman is a busy woman. Your life is full, with or without him. Your goals, your friends, your passions, they come first. And that's what makes him want to be part of your world. Detachment forces him to step up. Men thrive on challenge. When you detach, you're not playing games, you're setting a standard. He either meets it or loses you. Period. You protect your peace. When you detach, you stop overthinking, overgiving, overworrying. You stop draining yourself for someone who isn't showing up. Instead, you focus on what makes you happy. Men respect what they earn. When you're detached, you don't hand out your love, time, or energy like free samples. You make him work for it. And guess what? That's exactly what makes him value you. Final thought. The second you stop needing him, that's when he wants you more than ever. Detach. Level up. Watch them chase. Detachment is not about being cold or uncaring. It's about knowing your worth so deeply that you don't need to beg for anyone's time, love, or attention. When you detach, you send a clear message to the world. I am whole. I am enough. And that kind of energy, it's irresistible. People are drawn to confidence like moths to a flame. And the second you stop chasing, you start attracting. Think about it. When you're desperate for something, it runs from you. Love, success, opportunities. The harder you cling, the faster they slip through your fingers. But when you lean back, when you trust yourself, when you know you're good with or without it, that's when everything starts to fall into place. Most people confuse attachment with love. They think obsessing over someone, constantly needing validation, or bending over backward to prove their worth is what keeps a relationship alive. But attachment isn't love. It's fear. It's fear of losing, fear of being alone, fear of not being enough. And guess what? That fear is loud. It pushes people away because it feels like pressure, not passion. There is nothing sexier than a woman who knows what she brings to the table and doesn't beg anyone to sit down. She's in control of her emotions, her energy, and her time. She doesn't waste a second chasing someone who isn't showing up for her. And that self-respect, that confidence, it's intoxicating. People treat you the way you treat yourself. If you believe you're worthy, if you carry yourself with certainty, if you know deep down that you don't have to grip onto anyone to keep them in your life, you naturally become a magnet for the right energy. That's because confidence is quiet. It doesn't scream, beg, or plead. It just is. When you detach, you shift your focus from getting love to being love. You stop worrying about what someone else is thinking, what they're feeling if they're pulling away, because you're too busy living your life. And in doing so, you become a walking invitation for the kind of love that doesn't require you to chase it. Detachment isn't about ignoring your emotions. It's about mastering them. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, you'll be okay. That kind of emotional security changes everything. It makes you strong, it makes you free, and most importantly, it makes sure that the people in your life are there because they want to be, not because you begged them to stay. Neediness is like bad perfume, overpowering, suffocating, and impossible to ignore. The more you douse yourself in it, the more people want to escape. No one wants to feel like they're responsible for your happiness, your security, or your self-worth. That's not love. It's a burden. And burdens don't attract, they repel. When you make someone your emotional lifeline, you unknowingly push them away. It's not because they don't care. It's because the weight of your expectations feels suffocating. Love should feel like freedom, not obligation. The second someone feels like they have to respond, have to reassure, have to prove something to you, the magic disappears. Men, hell, people in general, are wired to be drawn to energy that feels good. Desperation, that's not a good vibe. It feels heavy. It feels like pressure. It feels like work. And no one wants to be in a relationship that feels like a full-time job. Neediness isn't just unattractive, it's exhausting. The real irony, the moment you stop begging for attention, people start fighting for yours. When you shift your focus from needing validation to owning your own energy, everything changes. You go from feeling powerless to magnetic. When you know your worth, when you trust that the right people will show up without you forcing them to, you instantly become more desirable. If you're constantly chasing someone, what message are you sending? That they're the prize and you're just hoping to be chosen. Wrong. You are the prize. And a high-value woman doesn't plead for love. She inspires it. She creates space for people to step up, but she never drags them there. Here's the truth. People crave what they can't fully have. The more you show up like you're dying for someone's attention, the less valuable that attention feels. But when you hold your energy, when you're selective about where you give it, when you stop trying so hard to prove your worth, that's when people start to notice. Neediness doesn't come from love, it comes from fear. Fear of abandonment, fear of not being good enough, fear of being alone. But when you let fear drive your relationships, you're never truly in control. And when you're not in control, you settle, you overgive, you tolerate things you shouldn't. And worst of all, you lose yourself trying to hold on to someone who wouldn't even fight to keep you. If you constantly need reassurance, validation, or proof that someone cares, take a step back and ask yourself, why don't I believe I'm already enough? That's the real work. That's where the real shift happens. When you stop seeking security from others and start creating it within yourself, you go from needy to irresistible. The right person will never need you to beg. The right person will show up because they want to, not because you twisted their arm. Love isn't about convincing someone to stay. It's about being so in alignment with yourself that the right people can't help but be drawn to you. Hold your energy. Stop proving, stop pleading, stop needing. Because the second you do, you'll realize that you never had to in the first place. People are addicted to mystery. It pulls them in, makes them curious, keeps them thinking about you long after you've left the room. And in relationships, mystery is pure power. It's what makes people crave more of you, not because you're playing games, but because you're naturally captivating. The biggest mistake people make in dating, they lay all their cards on the table too soon. They give too much access too fast. They overshare, over-explain, over-text, thinking that closeness equals connection. But here's the truth. Closeness without curiosity kills attraction. When you detach, you create space, and space, that's where desire grows. It gives someone the chance to wonder about you, to miss you, to lean in because they want to, not because you're forcing them to. When someone knows every move you make, every thought you have, every detail of your day, there's nothing left to discover. And what's already known? It stops being exciting. Men don't need space to disappear. They need space to pursue. When you're always available, always responding instantly, always pouring your energy into them, there's no room for them to want more. But when you hold back just a little, when you keep a part of yourself for yourself, that's when they start chasing. This isn't about manipulation, it's about energy. Think about the people you find intriguing. Are they the ones constantly updating you on their every move? Or are they the ones living their lives, doing their thing, showing up with a confidence that makes you wonder, what's going on in their world? There's something undeniably attractive about a woman who is fully in her own lane. She doesn't feel the need to prove herself, to be constantly accessible, to give endless reassurance. She lets her presence be felt, but she never over-explains or overshares. She understands that a little bit of mystery makes her energy more valuable. The truth is, people don't fall for what's handed to them on a silver platter. They fall for what they have to work to understand. When you keep a sense of mystery, when you leave people wanting just a little bit more, you stay on their mind. You don't have to chase because they're too busy thinking about you. Less access doesn't mean less connection. It means more intrigue. It keeps attraction alive, keeps the energy electric, keeps the relationship thriving. And the best part? It's effortless. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about being so fulfilled in your own life that you naturally create space for people to come to you. When you master mystery, you master attraction. Not by withholding, not by playing games, but by being so completely in your own power that people can't help but be drawn in, wondering, what is it about her? Energy doesn't lie. Walk into a room feeling anxious, desperate, or insecure, and people pick up on it instantly, even if you don't say a word. It's in your body language, your tone, the way you carry yourself. And in relationships, that energy either pulls people in or pushes them away. When you cling, when you overthink, when you stress about where things are going, you don't just feel it, you project it. And that kind of energy, it's heavy, it doesn't feel good. It makes the other person feel like they have to manage your emotions, and no one wants that responsibility. The moment you start radiating peace instead of panic, everything shifts. You control the vibe. If you believe you're in control, if you trust that what's meant for you won't miss you, you move differently. You don't chase, you don't force, you don't beg for clarity. You just exist in your power, and that alone makes people want to be around you. Think about the people who have the strongest presence. They don't even have to say much, but their energy is undeniable. That's because they aren't desperate for validation. They aren't trying to make anyone stay. They just show up as their full, confident selves, and people naturally gravitate toward them. Men especially are drawn to women who feel good to be around, not the ones who stress them out, demand constant reassurance, or smother them with emotional pressure. They want to be with someone whose energy feels calm, light, and effortless. And that energy comes from detachment, from knowing you'll be okay no matter what. Your vibe determines your value, not because you need to be perfect, but because when you're secure in yourself, you make others feel secure too. And that's magnetic. No one wants to feel like they're walking on eggshells around you. They want to feel excited, inspired, drawn in. You don't need to play games. You don't need to be cold. You just need to own your energy. When you radiate confidence instead of insecurity, when you exude peace instead of panic, you become the person people don't want to lose. So the next time you feel yourself getting anxious, overthinking, or trying too hard, pause, take a step back, breathe, shift your energy. Because when you control the vibe, you control the outcome. And when you master your energy, you never have to chase again. A relationship is not a rehab center. You are not his therapist, his emotional crutch, or his life coach. And the moment you take on that role, you shift from being his partner to being his caretaker. And nothing kills attraction faster than that. Women with big hearts often fall into this trap. You see his potential, his struggles, his wounds, and you think, I can help, I can fix this. But let's be real. Have you ever seen a man change because a woman pushed him to? No. People change when they decide to. Not because you poured yourself into healing them. You don't build a healthy relationship by becoming his therapist. You build it by being his equal, by supporting him, yes, but not saving him, by standing beside him, but never carrying him. The second you take responsibility for his emotions, his problems, his baggage, you lose yourself in his mess. And that's not love, that's self-sacrifice. A detached woman cares, but she never overcommends. She listens, but she doesn't absorb his issues as her own. She encourages, but she doesn't do the work for him. And most importantly, she doesn't cling to potential. She lets a man step up or step out, because here's the truth. If he wants to grow, he will. If he wants to be better, he'll put in the effort. But that's on him, not you. A man who is truly ready for love doesn't need a woman to fix him. He needs a woman to inspire him by simply being in her power. When you try to be his healer, you're not being his lover, you're being his safety net. And when a man sees you as the woman who will always be there, no matter how much he struggles, no matter how little he shows up, he stops trying. He doesn't have to step up because you're doing the work for him. So step back, let him figure it out, not in a cruel way, but in a way that respects your own energy. Because the right man, he won't want you to fix him. He'll want to rise to meet you. And if he doesn't, he was never your responsibility to begin with. People don't value what's always available. They value what feels rare, what feels earned, what they know they can't just find anywhere else. And that's exactly why scarcity makes you powerful. When you're always saying yes, always showing up, always making room for someone, even when they haven't earned it, you send the message that your time, energy, and love are easy to come by. And when something feels easy to get, people take it for granted. Think about luxury brands. They don't flood the market, they create exclusivity. And because of that, people are willing to wait, chase, and pay top dollar just to have a piece of it. You need to think of your energy the same way. When you're selective about who gets your time and access, you immediately become more valuable. This isn't about playing games. It's about having standards. It's about knowing that you are not an on-demand service for someone's convenience. When you detach, when you stop being so available, when you prioritize yourself first, something crazy happens. People start working harder to earn a place in your life. A woman who gives too much too soon makes a man feel comfortable. A woman who is a little bit scarce, she makes him feel challenged. And men, they don't value what's handed to them. They value what they have to work for. It's in human nature. We chase what we fear losing. If you're always there, always answering, always making him a priority before he's done the same for you, he never has to step up. He never has to truly appreciate your presence. But when you pull back, when you stop saying yes to everything, when you create a life so full that he has to work to be part of it, that's when he starts to realize your worth. That's when he sees that you are not replaceable. Your time, your attention, your love, it's not a free-for-all. It's a privilege. And the second you start treating it that way, so will everyone else. Nothing is more attractive than a woman who is deeply fulfilled in her own life. A woman who wakes up excited about her own goals, her own passions, her own growth. A woman who doesn't sit around waiting for a text because she's too busy building something bigger than a relationship. Men don't fall for women who make them the center of their world. They fall for women who have a world so amazing they want to be part of it. A high-value woman doesn't rearrange her schedule to accommodate a man who hasn't earned that level of access. She doesn't drop her priorities just because someone shows interest. She stays focused, and that energy, it's magnetic. When your life is full, you don't come off as needy. You're not sitting by the phone, overanalyzing his every move, desperate for his validation. You're out there living. And that confidence, that independence, is what makes a man want to chase you. Because now, he's not just competing for your attention, he's competing with everything else that excites you. Too many women make the mistake of making a man their hobby. They lose themselves in the relationship, slowly giving up their passions, their friendships, their routines. And then one day they wonder why the spark is gone. It's gone because the challenge is gone. The excitement is gone. The thing that made you so damn captivating in the first place, you gave it up. A high-value woman doesn't need to force attraction. She creates it effortlessly by staying committed to herself first. She moves with purpose, and when a man sees that, he knows he has to bring more than just attention to the table. He has to bring value, because if he doesn't, she's already fulfilled without him. The key is this: when you prioritize yourself, your dreams, and your joy, you naturally become the kind of woman people don't want to lose. Not because you're playing games, but because your energy is too rare to replace. Men don't step up for women who hand everything to them on a silver platter. They step up for women who make them earn their place. And that's exactly why detachment is so powerful. It forces a man to decide, am I going to rise to meet her standards, or am I going to lose her? This isn't about manipulation. It's not about playing hard to get or withholding affection. It's about knowing your worth so deeply that you refuse to settle for anything less than what you deserve. When you detach, you're not punishing him. You're simply giving him the space to show you who he really is. Men thrive on challenge. If something comes too easy, if they don't have to put in effort, if they know you'll always be there no matter how little they invest, they lose interest. It's just human nature. We all value what we have to work for. When you detach, you shift the dynamic. You stop proving, chasing, over-explaining. You let him come to you. You let him decide if he's willing to step up. And if he doesn't, you're already so secure in yourself that you're unbothered. The most powerful thing you can do is let a man feel the weight of possibly losing you, not through threats, not through drama, just through action, through prioritizing yourself, through living your life with or without him. Because a man who truly wants you, he will show up. He will match your energy. He will meet your standard, or he won't get to have you at all. If you constantly remind a man of what he should be doing, if you try to pull him toward the right behavior, you're mothering, not inspiring. A high-value woman doesn't teach a man how to treat her. She simply allows him to reveal whether he can or not. Peace is power. And the moment you detach, the moment you stop overextending yourself for someone who isn't meeting you halfway, you take that power back. Think about how much energy you've wasted overthinking texts, replaying conversations, wondering what he's thinking, stressing over where things are going. And for what? None of that changes the outcome. None of that brings you closer to the love you actually deserve. It just drains you. Detachment is the ultimate act of self-respect. It's you saying, I refuse to give my time, my heart, and my energy to someone who isn't pouring into me too. It's you realizing that love should never feel like a full-time job where you're the only one putting in the work. A woman who protects her peace is unshakable. She doesn't get pulled into chaos, mixed signals, or emotional roller coasters. She doesn't waste time trying to fix people or prove her worth. She simply walks away from anything that disturbs her inner calm. And you know what happens when you do that? You become more attractive. Not because you're playing games, but because your energy shifts. You're no longer desperate. You're no longer giving unlimited access to someone who hasn't earned it. You're living in a way that says, I am the prize. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop over-caring about people who don't show up for you. It means you stop waiting, stop hoping, stop clinging to potential. You meet people where they are. And if that's not enough, you move forward with grace, knowing that what's meant for you will never require you to sacrifice your peace. When you prioritize your happiness, your goals, your joy, you stop feeling anxious about relationships. You stop questioning if you're too much or if you should hold on a little longer. You just trust yourself. And that level of self-trust, it changes everything. So if a situation is costing you your peace, it's too expensive. Protect it at all costs, because when you do, the right people, the ones who genuinely value you, will naturally fall into place. People don't respect what comes too easily. They respect what they have to earn, and men are no exception. When you make yourself too available, when you give your love, time, and energy freely to someone who hasn't proven they deserve it, you send one message: I don't value myself enough to make you work for me. But when you detach, when you stop handing out unlimited access just because someone shows interest, everything changes. You create a barrier of self-respect, and that barrier forces a man to step up or step out. Men are wired to pursue, to invest, to win, and what they invest in, they value. When they have to work for your time, when they have to show up consistently, when they have to prove they deserve your energy, that's when they respect you. That's when they see you as the woman they can't afford to lose. Look around. People don't take care of what's given to them effortlessly. They take care of what they had to earn. That's why luxury brands don't give out free bags on the street. That's why high setter positions require years of effort, because effort creates value. The same applies to love. If a man doesn't have to work to keep you, he won't see your presence as a privilege. He'll see it as a given. And the second he starts seeing you as a given, the second he knows he doesn't have to put in effort, that's when the dynamic shifts and not in your favor. Being a high-value woman isn't about withholding love. It's about making sure your love is deserved. It's about knowing that your time is precious, your heart is rare, and not everyone gets access to it. You don't play hard to get. You are hard to get because you know your worth. So don't lower your standards just to keep a man's attention. The right man, he won't mind working for it. In fact, he'll want to, because deep down, men don't want what's easy. They want what's worth it. Detachment isn't about being cold, distant, or playing games. It's about knowing your worth so deeply that you never feel the need to beg for love, chase attention, or overextend yourself just to keep someone interested. It's about shifting your focus away from, will he choose me, to do I even want him? Because when you operate from a place of confidence, everything changes. Men can't resist women who detach because that energy is rare. It's the energy of a woman who doesn't need anyone to complete her, who knows that her life is already full and amazing with or without a relationship. She doesn't cling. She doesn't overgive. She simply exists in her own power. And that kind of presence, it pulls people in effortlessly. When you detach, you stop wasting time on situations that drain you. You stop waiting for mixed signals to turn into commitment. You stop trying to fix, heal, or prove your worth to someone who should already see it. Instead, you create space for the right man to step up, space for the kind of love that flows without force, space for a relationship that actually matches your value. This isn't about making men chase you. It's about showing up as the kind of woman who demands respect just by the way she carries herself. When you protect your energy, when you prioritize your own peace and happiness, the right man won't see that as a challenge. He'll see it as a privilege to be part of your world. And the ones who don't, they were never meant to have access to you in the first place. So stop chasing, stop proving, stop settling. Stand firm in your worth. Because the second you do, you'll realize something powerful. You never had to try so hard in the first place. The right man won't need convincing. He'll just know.